actually let the people know what's going on. So at this moment, we want to bring on our next guest. But before we bring on our next guest, we want to show y'all this powerful clip of Kimberly Jones, who basically she broke down the entire system of American and pretty much the institutionalized racism that has occurred over the years. So we want to show her clip right now.
You can't win. The game is fixed. So when they say, why do you burn down the community? Why do you burn down your own neighborhood? It's not ours. We don't own anything. We don't own anything. Trevor Noah said it so beautifully last night. There's a social contract that we all have, that if you steal or if I steal, then the person who is the authority comes in and they fix the situation. But the person who fixes the situation is killing us. So the social contract is broken. And if the social contract is broken, why the f do I give a shit about burning the Football Hall of Fame, about burning the Target? You broke the contract when you killed us in the streets and didn't give up. You broke the contract when for 400 years we played your game and built your wealth. You broke the contract when we built our wealth again on our own by our bootstraps in Tulsa and you dropped bombs on us. When we built it in Rosewood and you came in and you slaughtered us. You broke the contract, so your Target, your Hall of Fame. As far as I'm concerned, they could burn this bitch to the ground. And it still wouldn't be enough. And they are lucky that what black people are looking for is equality and not revenge.
So right now we want to bring on Kimberly Jones to get her thoughts on this powerful speech, the powerful message that she put out, and it's going viral. Like, this is a powerful message, and definitely want to get her thoughts. Kimberly, she here?
Yeah, she's right here. Take
hey,
yourself
Kimberly,
off mute.
Kimberly, take yourself off of mute, and you might want to turn your phone horizontal. I'm sorry. There you go. Oh, there you go.
All right, can y'all hear me now?
Yeah. We hear you loud and clear.
All right.
Hey, so we want you to introduce yourself to the people. Let everyone know who you are. You're a phenomenal author as well as an activist. So just let everyone know who you are before we get into the interview.
Okay, well, my name is Kimberly Jones. I'm an author. I have a novel called I'm Not Dying With You Tonight, which feels like prophecy now because it's a book about race riots in Atlanta. I am a mom and I have a 14-year-old son. So that is one of the reasons why I work so hard in the way that I do, because I'm concerned about my son and everybody else's son. I've been working with my community and in my community since I was 8 years old, and I cussed President Reagan out on CNN. So, this has been a long journey and it's just frustrating to still be here.
Definitely. So I want to break down your powerful speech. First, let's talk about where it happened and what inspired this speech.
So what happened was a colleague of mine, David Jones, he is a photographer and a filmmaker, and he had been working on this documentary about the aftermath of everything that was happening. And so he had been, in the riots and there during cleanups and things like that, filming. And he called me on Sunday morning and said, "Hey sis, can you roll with me? I need somebody to kind of interview some people out, do some man on the street for me today." So I was like, sure, fine, whatever, I'll come with you. And I got out there and people were cleaning up. And based on some of the conversations people were having while they were cleaning up, I got really upset. And he was like, "What's wrong?" And I started talking and he just like let people. And that captured, so that wasn't like a planned speech or anything. That came out of just sheer frustration.
Wow. Muscle.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah, no, I was so proud. You talked about your training at Push and how maybe that's part of the missing moment. We all don't understand the truth about how we are receipt shareholders in every single corporation. What did you learn from your experience in PUSH, and how can we advocate even now numerically for our community?
Yeah, so I grew up, I live here. I've been living in Atlanta now for 20 years, but I grew up in Chicago. I'm originally from Chicago. And at the time when I was younger, Operation PUSH, Rainbow Coalition, had their headquarters were in Chicago, and they had after school programming for kids. And I can honestly say they militarized us because they were giving us information about ourselves and who we were. And there was a woman who was there, Reverend Willie T. Barrow, who unfortunately has since passed on. And she always taught us about the economics of why we were here. And there was this a brilliant speech that she gave that when I was in 8th grade, I recited for an oratory competition. And so I've always carried that speech with me. And so one of the things that they always taught us there was that the wealth that was built during slavery was generational wealth. And the debt that we have was generational debt. And both of them were by design. And, you know, they were, at the time, they were proponents for reparations, even when that was like a taboo thing to say. I think we're finally coming around now to understand why we're owed reparations. Because of the generational wealth. I usually, what I tell people, just as a quick example, you watch movies about slavery and they show them selling slaves on the slave block. They're always in tattered clothes and look raggedy, but that's for Hollywood. The truth is, when they put slaves on the slave blocks, they would dress them up because it's a product and you want to sell it. Well, Brooks Brothers made their original money having a niche market of dressing slaves. There are still descendants of Brooks Brothers suits on that board, still making slave money. And they're not the only one. So they have built generational wealth off of this 400-year intern. And yet we've continued to have generational debt and economic disparagement. And it's time that people are honest about that. And we took the veil off of how this company built its wealth on the backs of Black people and the atrocities that we have suffered under their reign. And then they act as if though it's something we're just supposed to forget. You talk about 9/11 and they're like, never forget. And you talk about slavery and then they're like, well, that was so long ago. I don't understand it.
There.
Well, Kimberly, I wanted to thank you for bringing up the social contract that has been broken. Shout out to John Singleton, the late John Singleton, who actually made the movie Rosewood that you talked about yesterday in terms of we adhere to the American mandate or the American way of life of building wealth and only to have it totally destroyed. So I wanted to talk to you about that social contract, and you would elaborate on what we have done right and still be faced with oppression and atrocities.
Yeah, so the social contract itself is fair if everybody is adhering to it. So the social contract is like, we are all functioning members of society. We do the right thing. If we do the wrong thing, then the authority shows up and manages the situation based on the letters of the law, and everyone adheres to that. You are given, if necessary, you are set in front of a trial of your jurors, and then they make a decision based on the social contract, and everybody on. But the social contract has never applied to us. It has never worked for us. These authority figures that show up that are supposed to fix the situation have been murdering us in the streets. And the reason that they've been murdering us in the streets is because the design of it from the very beginning was to catch slaves. The 13th Amendment was put in place so they could basically reinvent slavery with a new polished look and put us in prison, and we could work there for free instead of working in the fields for free. So the system is rigged and set up. In 2015, right here in Georgia, there were officers who sued because they said that they were given quotas and sent to certain neighborhoods where they just had to randomly pull people and hope that the person was doing something wrong so they could write tickets. So it's aggressive towards us. It is not community policing. It is a militarized assault on the Black community. So if no one, not the judicial system, not the policing system, if everyone is on attack for us, why are we expected to adhere to the system? And my question was also, like, why are people saying, well, that's not the way to do things? I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned about the white gays. I'm not concerned about the way things look to white people. I don't have to buck the system of my oppressor in a way that is palatable to them. I'm sorry, sir. Is my taking a knee disrupting your football game? I'm sorry, sir. Is my unrest disrupting you getting your latte? It sounds ridiculous to think that the way that I'm supposed to buck my oppressor is supposed to be palatable to them. And only Black people are expected to adhere to these crazy norms while we're being strategically abused on a daily basis.
And I want to hit on that because we hear the term peaceful protest. We keep hearing that. Right. And it seems like it's like, okay, they want us to be peaceful in our protest to respond to violence. Like, we're really responding to violence against us. So if you can speak about that term peaceful protest, and they want us to respond to violence peacefully. And if there's a disconnect between those two things.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm sure you can already tell. I'm not the person to ask a question if you want the PC answer. And my whole thing is, I feel like language is always weaponized. Language has always been used in a way to discredit us or to put us in place. And the fact that I see so many people on TV punching the term peaceful protest as if those to say, no, we're not those Black people. We're the good ones. We're protesting. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy to me. Not only are we responding to the violence that has been placed upon us with police brutality, we're responding to the violence of how they respond to our protests. Those protesters who wanted to go get their haircuts, who showed up to a government building toting guns, were not surrounded by guns and a militarized National Guard. But while we're peacefully protesting and being loved, no, not us. They're throwing tear gas at us and shooting people and shooting young teenagers in the face with rubber bullets.
Yes.
Even in the way that we are allowed to protest, they are prepared to act violently towards us. Our president has told us he will act violently towards us. And yet we still, I'm sorry, I'm not with those scared Negroes that still want to be like, this is going to be a peaceful protest. No, this is going to be a protest. And I'm at a war with my oppressor. And how it turns out, it turns out.
Well, I think the other thing, and I don't want to get lost, which is why I appreciated your conversation, is we've got to stay on the money. Because if we don't stay on these economics, how can any city have a food desert? Okay, well, let's put a law that there has to be a grocery store in every neighborhood, or no grocery stores can be open. Like, let's put a real wrap on this, because I'm really tired of seeing no numbers, at least, Kimberly, for me. Right. We got quotas. I'm tired of having any community affairs, multicultural diversity person without a 8-figure budget. And then you don't even ask, is it Black-owned media? Like, why does Black-owned media have to beg? Disney wrote off $500 million for Vice, but have they invested $500 million in Black media? So I really challenge it. Let's come together. We don't have to do it now, Kimberly, but we need to put some KPIs, because this cannot be one of those protests. And then all of a sudden they say, well, we're going to give them, if you're going to give us something for 50 to 100 years. Don't write me and put it out. I mean, it's just intolerable that we're not speaking to numbers. Our protest has to be written in numbers. And that's why the economics for you and I and everybody else who is in this movement has to speak to numbers. So let me know what we can do to create numerical value for our protest and to manage all the Negroes inside. Because many of our oppressors are not white. They're Black people who are paid to be white.
Now you spoke a word right there. And that is my thing, is like, people keep asking me, well, what is your platform? Well, what do you want to do after this? I want to build a strategic economic plan. And that's the whole reason I said what I said, is because all of this oppression, if you root it all the way back to slavery, it's economically based. So we need economic resolve, because even some of the things that we're talking about, we don't have, like grocery stores and healthcare and proper access to transportation and better education. All those problems can be fixed with economics. All of those problems can be fixed with numbers, because part of the reason they're able to keep us so long in prison most of the time is because people just can't afford to pay a bond, and that there are no systems set up to be covering these bonds for our brothers. So, and then we don't have the power to go put PACs together to lobby to get the laws changed. And I know we keep telling everybody to vote, and everybody should vote. And I agree that they should vote, but it doesn't stop at the vote. Poor people vote, rich people lobby. If you want to get laws changed, if you want to have a dog in the race, you have to have the money to lobby for the laws that you want to change. That's just the system. That's the way that it works. And that's the reason we've been losing the game, is because we don't understand how the game works. We go down there and do passive activity like voting, and then nobody's lobbying to get the laws changed. So I think that the leaders who are ready to step up and say, okay, take this energy that we have from this international movement happen, is to put together a strategic economic plan. And I'm with you, and me and you and Bob Johnson and a bunch of other folks, we need to get together and figure out what we're going to do about the money.
Yeah, because it appears to me every time I see it, we're just creating more black pets. Like they figured out how to get 100 black pets who never talk about, okay, where is the money?
Right.
Like you invite people who are already getting the money you paid, but at the end of the day, where are those individuals? Where is black owned? Like, I'm not hearing that conversation right now. So let's figure that out, because I want some key performance indicators. I don't want any more town halls that don't invite black media, black owned media to participate.
And this is not to say that I feel my voice is the only voice, but I've been exhausted this week with watching the powers be have these black town halls play my clip, but not invite me to the table. Because you really don't.
There we go. There we go. There we go. And that's another form of looting. They're taking your words and your experience without actually getting your voice of getting your experience. So you're right.
Boom.
Kimberly, we
before
commit to having a town hall, economic town hall. That's what we do. Let's figure that out.
Yes,
how to have an economic town hall together. We need to have an economic town hall ASAP. So I commit to doing it. I commit to using our platform so we can go ahead and have that, a real one, without the imposter. All right. Well, we love you. Much respect to you. And great job, Amir and Terry. But Kimberly, let's make sure we connect so that we can have that within the next 7 days. That way it won't be one of, oh, we took forever, we got it. But let's figure out who we want to talk about the Black business economic crisis and see if our imposter friends can actually post it. Will they post Black conversation, or will they only post Black cute conversation?
I like you.
Well,
All right,
you.
Kimberly, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to circle back, and we're going to definitely do some more stuff with you, okay?
Definitely. You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kimberly.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Hey, powerful.
Amir Shah.
Powerful words, man. We gotta break this stuff down, man.
And that's what I'm talking about, where it's important to educate yourself. Now that we have this momentum, I mean, it's kind of corny to say it in a non-stressful environment, but in this day and age, with the coronavirus, with the pandemic, with you stuck in your house, this is a time to take that energy and combine it with education and self-education, like she was talking about, and take this thing to another level. The time is now.
All right. Well, we got Randy Williams. We're rolling out 8M. We got Randy Williams from Tally and Twine. He is a phenomenal CEO, and we want to understand how we can help more individuals navigate creating their own companies at this moment. Randy Williams. Hey, Randy. Unmic yourself, brother.
How you doing, Mr. Steve? Thanks for having me, man.
Well, no, we're proud of you, brother. I mean, number one, for us, we're talking about a protest, but if we don't support entrepreneurs, then we're missing it. So here on CEO to CEO, I want you to share your vision as a CEO and allow us to understand why it's important that we all begin to produce products for this economy. And just introduce yourself. Let's start off there.
Yeah, Randy Williams. I'm the founder of Italian Twine Watch Company from Georgia, and just grew up in a really small town. About 5,000 people, and I always wanted something more. I wanted something greater than what I saw. And people like yourself, who may not know that people might be watching you. Derive that inspiration from them to say, hey, I can really do this. I believe in myself. After college, a lot of people don't know this, but I moved to Atlanta and I fell in love with Rolling Out magazine. Like, it was something that belonged to us, and I saw my people in it, and so coming from a small town, it was awesome to open it up and see people doing so many entrepreneurial things. I went to your events, like I was there, you know what I mean? And I derived a lot of inspiration from that, man. So I want to say salute to you for using that platform, and you've been doing it for so long. It's just unsung, you know what I'm saying? And people overlook, they think that's an easy thing, like, how long have you guys been around?
21 years.
21 years? My goodness. So stuff like that is hard to start now. So imagine just having a massive media platform and doing that 20 years ago. So salute to you. But the entrepreneurial concept is important. I heard you guys on the last portion of the segment. It's important because that's how we empower ourselves. I always looked at it like, I don't want to ask for a handout. I was raised by a Southern grandmother. She was like, hey, go to people's house, don't ask them for nothing. You know what I mean? Get it yourself. And I think that puts us in a position of power. Once we're economically empowered and own things, it puts us in a position of power to say, hey, look, I can hire this person. I can fund this particular movement that's going on, and that's my whole reason for being an entrepreneur is it gets us out of second place, last place.
So when you think about it, the number 7, the whole idea of what you have established in your brand, you utilize crowdfunding. Why is crowdfunding so important?
Man, just crowdfunding is one of those things that dramatically lowers the barrier to entry for entrepreneurs, especially for entrepreneurs of color. Because I go to conferences and I'm on podcasts a lot, and I'm talking to people in my industry in the e-commerce field. And unfortunately, like many of us, I'm one of few Black faces. And I hear them saying stuff like, I did a friends and family round of funding and raised $250,000. And I'm like, I don't even think I could get $5,000 from my family if I asked everybody in my immediate family that I actually knew. And so because we don't have that historical wealth in our families already, crowdfunding is something that lowers that barrier to entry. So now it's not based on me, it's based on, I am delivering a good product. Would you like to help fund this product and be a part of one of the early adopters of that product? So crowdfunding saved our business. We launched on Kickstarter, we raised about $25,000, and we never had to take on an equity partner. We never had to take on loans because we will always be able to be self-funded.
So now that you've matured in this business model, if you were given a speech at Howard or FAM and you were speaking to young graduates, which I'm sure you will, what would be the title of your speech as a CEO to the future CEOs? And how would you challenge them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think my speech would be centered around ownership and elaborating on what it means to really have ownership, what it really means to have equity, and the power that comes with that. And I think a lot of times I would challenge them to look at entrepreneurship from a different angle. So a lot of times we look at entrepreneurship, especially some of the younger people that I talk to, we look at it as me just getting a pile of cash, you know, me being rich so I can go buy nice things. And in actuality, in this capitalistic society that we're in, it allows you to be an activist. It allows you to have a voice in this type of economy. And so I would challenge them to say, hey, okay, it's cool to get things for yourself, but I want you to think about how many people you'll be able to empower through being an owner, through being an entrepreneur, through having a business. And not only that, but you'll be able to do something that's fulfilling to you, and you'll be able to stay true to yourself throughout it all.
Super. Well, I appreciate it. We're proud of you. Where can people find your watches and share that with us and continue to shine bright for those entrepreneurs who understand we need to create more products and services for our community so that we consume within our community as well?
Most definitely. They can find us on tallyandtwine.com, TALLEYANDTWINE.com, Tally and Twine. Just Google Tally and Twine. And my Instagram page is CEO Randy.
All right, we'll show them one of your watches. All right, everybody. Let's support each other. Let's make sure that you follow this young man. We really appreciate all that you do. From CEO to CEO, much respect, much love. Continue to grow, and let's stay in touch, because I do believe we're going to be crowdfunding real soon with Rolling Out. So it's going to be something big.
All right, man. Salute to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Peace. All right, it's Rolling Out in the AM. That was Randy. Fantastic, young, strong brother who is definitely creating that opportunity for those who want to know and grow their businesses in the area of products like watches and other great devices. That was excellent. What's happening, King James?
What's happening, man? What's happening? I thought that was powerful, you know, that we need to understand the ABCs of building and maintaining and growing a business so that we can continue to empower and move our country, our community forward in America.
Cassidy?
I agree 100%. I enjoy both of those guests. Our first guest, Kimberly Jones, very powerful sister. And then obviously, you know, I've done some stories about Tally and Twine. They're definitely an awesome brand. Definitely should support them. So yeah, we have a bunch of great people. We have some great people coming up for the rest of the show. I'm excited to bring on. So we have a lot of exciting information coming up.
There she is. Who is that, Cassidy? Who is that? Who is that, Cassidy? Who is that?
So we have Ava L. Hall, who will be joining us, the Vice President of Programming and Brand Advancement for Viacom CBS Networks International. She's had an exceptional career, and I'm excited to talk to her and bring her on to discuss everything that she's done with BET, international music, and everything there. So it'll be an exciting conversation. We're waiting for her to join us shortly. We have just a short video clip that we can play right now of her.
Wherever we are, I like to dive into that community and find out what does Black culture mean there, and how do we best represent it, and how do we embrace it and celebrate it.
Oh my God, 23 years of serving Black communities around the world.
An illustrious woman, Mrs. Ava Hall of BET International.
Talking about somebody who's really held me down and made sure that I'm being represented well. Ava, you can be taken out.
The fact that you spotted this little activist from Mogadishu and saw that there was an opportunity for bridging the gap between culture and leadership.
Ava played a huge role in my life and in my career, part of creating the BET International Award that got me the chance to bring this beautiful plaque back home in 2013.
You have given me opportunities that I just never imagined I would ever be able to receive.
I just want to thank you for everything you made for us, everything you made for African artists.
Thank you for putting the culture on the map.
Thank you for every door opened, for every light switched on that was off.
Thank you for using your power to bring a smile on our faces.
You're just beautiful inside and out.
You are Black Girl Magic, Ava Hall.
It's important that we find out what is resonating outside of this broad stroke of some Black people on the TV, you know? Like, it has to be deeper than that. And so that's really been, you know, my approach.
Yes, and we have Ava El Hall on. How are you doing? I believe you're actually on mute.
Ava.
Hello.
Good
Hello. Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You've been such
it
a
is my
gift to so
pleasure.
many.
No, it's been my pleasure. It's been my pleasure. Absolutely. And thanks for having me on Rolling Out. Happy to join you guys this morning.
Yes, we're so excited to have you. We're very excited to speak with you about your career. You've had an exceptional career. You've been at BET. You spent over 23 years of your career growing the iconic BET brand, working with international music artists, expanding the Afro beats and breaking that in the US, building this bridge between international, you know, celebrities and, you know, American culture. So I would love for you to just, you know, discuss, you know, a little bit about your work. You've worked in 55 countries across Africa, Ireland, and France. So if you could just, you know, tell the people a little bit about yourself and your work.
Thank you. You know, it's been an absolute amazing journey these last 23 years, you know, growing BET around the world. I spent 10 years of my career on the US side of the business and the last 13 years on the international side of the business, helping to launch BET International, really to 40 million households outside of the US. So that started with launching, you know, in the UK, BET UK, which is the channel there. It is seen in the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. We have offices in London. We have a channel in Africa, BET Africa, which is seen in sub-Saharan Africa. We have offices in Johannesburg and Nigeria, as well as we have BET France, which is seen all across, you know, France, and we have offices in Paris. You know, and so BET looks different in all of those places. You know, the overarching goal is to be the preeminent kind of platform for Black lovers of Black culture and Black culture. And that looks different in each of those places. So my work required me to really lean in and find out what Black culture was there, and you know, represent it, provide a platform for it. You know, kind of from a programmatic standpoint, it was, you know, localizing in all of those areas and being able to mirror Black communities there is also, you know, shining a light on seasoned and emerging talent, providing a platform there, as well as being able to have a voice and show a voice for, you know, issues that are plaguing Black communities all around the world. So, you know, broadly, that has been the work. You know, we developed things like, you know, the international categories in the BET Awards and the Hip Hop Awards to make sure talent could be amplified and, you know, have visibility across the world. But I think bigger than all of that has just been, you know, what's fueled my journey is really just my strong belief in representation matters. And we need to be, you know, serving communities that are underrepresented and in some cases misrepresented. So it has been really, you know, a beautiful journey to just discover the richness in our culture all over the world.
Absolutely. And I think we saw this in this tribute. So many people thanked you, for helping to catapult their careers, giving them a platform in these other countries. So I think that's absolutely amazing. Um, and Terry and Munson, please feel free to jump in if you have any questions.
Yes, absolutely. We're talking about Black Music Month. And so what I wanted to know is that I think this is beautiful, taking this across the pond, as they say, and taking this game international, which it should have been from the get-go. But I wanted to know, what does Black Music Month mean to you personally and professionally from the BET standpoint, now that a game has gone international? And what similarities and differences do you see from American Black culture and from African culture around the world?
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question for sure. But let's start with Black Music Month. Black Music Month is something I think that we should all be proud to celebrate. And it is something that gives us an opportunity to share all of our rich kind of talents around the world. And for me, it's been, just so enriching to be able to highlight talent from around the world and to provide a platform. And I think having 1 month is, I have the same feelings as I do for Black History Month in February. But to me, Black culture drives all culture, and so I don't think it's not different with music as well. Hip hop is like the #1 music genre in the world. And so for me to see, hip hop start as it has, and, now is #1, started as this underground movement, but now it's this, massive movement that really is #1 in the world. But also there's these emerging kind of genres like Afro beats that are also emerging. And I'm hopeful that it takes the same blueprint as Afro beats and as hip hop, and also spreads around the world. The difference is that is so complex, between, America and here. I think that's a whole nother show.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say thank you, because I think the value proposition of a African American woman in leadership speaks volumes. So what would you tell young women who are aspiring in their careers at a moment in protest and uprising, how to navigate and still do what you've done, go across the world, make your mark, and still be conscious?
Yeah, I think I always carry with me these 4 R's that I have had, for some time in my career. But I think the first one for me was to research, find out what I feel strongly about, what I'm interested in, what my gifts are, and find out everything I can about it, and find people who are already being successful in it, and, ask them as much as I can. That's the first R for me, is research. The second one is rhythm, finding my own kind of unique rhythm. What are my values, and staying true to that. And, thirdly is like risk, taking risks, not being afraid to take risks. And finally is just real, just being authentic and always pursuing the best me that I can. So I think for me, those 4 R's have always kind of shaped my path. And I think that's what I would say to any young person trying to navigate either as a career or a movement or whatever it is to find your voice within it, stay true to it, and don't be afraid to risk, amplify your voice.
Thank you.
I wanted to just ask, as we're, in Black Music Month, are there any artists, or, that when people are looking for new artists and trying to expand their music catalog and who they listen to, how should people go about finding these international artists? Do you have any that you suggest people listen to? looking for up and coming, international artists that, we should be on the lookout for, or where to find those artists?
Yep. I think a lot of the streaming platforms, digital music streaming platforms, do world or genre specific playlist. Afrobeats is a genre that's rising, particularly in the US. So you can check out, the Spotify Afrobeats playlist, or, the Apple playlist for Afrobeats, or additionally, you can check out the international categories for the BET Awards that we have curated. We have an emerging artist. There's an emerging artist category, as well as the best. And if that does not help, I'm happy to send over to rolling out my favorite playlist for people.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I want the personal list. I don't want Spotify's list. I want Ava's list. Do not give me the Spotify. I'm not checking for them.
All right, you got it. All right.
I need your curated list. Come on now. We're asking for the real stuff, not the stuff that hadn't. We want them gems and them jewels that inspire you. I'm closer to you than I am Spotify. I don't know anybody there personally like I would know. I think the other thing is just the representation that you give Black women and Black people over at BET. You have had between yourself, obviously leadership is key. What is your leadership style? What is your whole management style? And because I want the community to know that you've got to have a leadership style when you're in this corporate game.
Yeah, I think my leadership style would probably be described as inspirational. I try to lead from a very integral and moral place, first of all, with truth and authenticity. And transparency. And I also, try to be a voice really for the voiceless. So for me, it's about listening to, audiences to figure out how I could be most representative of them, as well as the people that are on my team, are on my teams, also listening to their voices. And I think leadership for me mostly is also developing. I want to be developing leaders, and not just, taking up space, but also making space. So I think broadly that has been what drives me as a leader and what most represents me as a leader.
All right. So there are a couple of brands, I'm sure. Why don't you describe your brand? Because I think that's another beautiful thing that I've heard about, that people talk about this Ava brand.
Yep. I call it Ava Lizette Living. And what that means for me really is, and the mission really for me is to inspire the world to live well, to feel good, to do good, and to be good. And so that mission for me comes to life through a myriad of sub companies that I've developed. There's a Ava Lizette design company that really shapes of how we feel good. And, our Be Good, Do Good, I have a Love Foundation that we do random acts of kindness and mentorship and educational initiatives. So I think to shape it really is all about, for me, is to live well. But live well really means, to feel good, be good, and do good.
I love it. Thank you so much.
What's next for you? I mean, outside of Ava Lizette Living, what is next for you?
There is likely a book on the horizon that I'll be able to kind of share my life lessons and some of my leadership things that I've learned throughout this far in my career. I'll still be very active in pushing the Black culture, bridging the gap kind of agenda between U.S. and Black culture around the world. Some pretty fun activations that are soon to be coming. And additionally, I think I'll be looking to do some content deals with some other major companies, really with the narrative of owning our stories. And, no one can tell our stories like we can. And so that is quite important to me as well.
Super.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we're so thankful for the work that you've done and that you'll continue to do. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ava. We appreciate you. We're proud of you, and we love you here at Rolling Out AM, the wake up call.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Peace.
Bye.
Bye. Wow, she is great. I really appreciate all that leadership, sharing insight on her career and just her approach to life, and having value is so key. I really enjoyed that, Cass. Thanks so much.
Yeah, she was great. I think she's definitely an inspiration. We can all take something, like you said, from her leadership. And she's done so much for the music world. So I'm definitely looking forward to that list from her. We'll definitely have to circle back and get those recommendations.
The 4 R's. That was pretty good too. I enjoyed having 4 R's, making it pretty simple so that we got it. I was creating some R's at the same time. Hello.
Hello.
Turn it on, man.
Hey.
Hey.
There she go.
Hey, how are you? Good morning.
No.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Fantastic.
You in trouble too. Introduce yourself first to the Rolling Out. I'm gonna tell you why. Introduce yourself to the Rolling Out AM Wake Up Morning Show.
What's up, Rolling Out Wake Up AM Morning Show? I am Karen Moore. I play Victoria Franklin on Tyler Perry's The Oval and Dr. Chapel on DC Universe's new series Stargirl.
And she causes trouble, Cass, in the city in AR, because this is my real life first lady crush right here. It's between her and Michelle Obama. You and Michelle.
Thank you.
So, first of all, welcome to the show. When I first heard, we're going to talk about the Oval, but when I first heard that you were going over to DC, and I'm not sure if you're a comic book person or you're into that genre, but when I heard you was going over to DC, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be real good. How did that come about?
Oh, with the DC universe?
Yes.
It's really cool. I just auditioned just like any other person. I got the opportunity through my agent in Atlanta. And I went in and auditioned and I booked the role. But what's really, really cool about it, and you probably know this, is that Jeff Johns, the creator, is from Detroit. And so, so it's really cool to work with him and to have, that hometown vibe in the room when we're working. So yeah, I'm excited about that opportunity.
But also, because I'm a Marvel guy, but Stargirl is really, really a primary fact in the DC universe. So you're about to become a part of this comic cult culture. Are you ready for that?
I don't know if I'm ready for it. I really didn't understand what it was until I started to get into it. And the fans are amazing, but they're serious about it.
They are very serious about their role. And we're going to talk about the Oval as well. Cass in the City, did you want to jump in?
Definitely. Obviously, you star on the Oval, and this is a totally different role that you're, entering in now with Stargirl. How are you preparing for this new role? And then I definitely still want to talk about your role on the Oval, because those fans are also, super fans of that show, Tyler Perry's The Oval.
Well, you know what? I think my role as Dr. Chapel is more along the lines of my personal persona, more so, of course, than Victoria from Tyler Perry's The Oval. And so it was kind of easy for me to step into that role. She's buttoned up, and not to say that I'm buttoned up, but she's kind of a nerd, and I'm kind of a nerd. And she's just kind of reserved. And so that was easy for me to fit into. And then I play somebody's mom, a sweet mom. So it was kind of easy.
So they're like totally opposite characters.
Totally
like,
opposite.
So we have a clip that we're gonna cue up.
Yeah, before you jump in, AR. So this is a clip so everybody can be familiar with the DC universe.
Starman, are you there? Starman! The Justice Society must live on. Someone with honor must carry the torch.
I know this has been difficult. The move and a new stepfather, but we're gonna make a good life.
Hey, sorry, that's just real delicate.
What are you?
It's the cosmic staff. It's extremely temperamental. The staff's not supposed to work for anyone except Starman.
This has to be the reason the staff lit up. The staff chose me, and I choose you.
I never thought there'd be another Starman.
Stargirl.
Stargirl, new series coming spring 2020 on the CW.
Hey.
Damn,
Good job.
you know, no, because your character, I don't want to say it out loud because I know your character is the mother of somebody who's actually I can't say, but you know, that's major. And as far as definitely being beautiful and black and being a queen in my eyes, you know, to be represented in the DC universe, man, I love it. I love it personally.
Yeah, you know, we don't always get, you know, opportunities like that. People of color, we don't get opportunities to play these types of roles. And so I'm really honored to be a part of it. And I do feel like it's a family and it's so much fun. I can't wait for everybody to see what happens throughout the story and how, you know, my character and my daughter are woven into the story, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You can't spill, you can't say either. I know.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what? But it's coming up though. People will be able, you know, I think we're on the 4th episode. We're in the 4th episode. The 4th episode aired yesterday. And so and so people will see how everybody is kind of interwoven.
Yeah, definitely. I wanna go back to the Oval. I know Tyler Perry, he was one of the first people to open his studios, and he took extra precautions. Could you describe, are you guys filming at this moment, or did you guys get a chance to film during the pandemic, and if so, what was the precautions or measures that you guys had to take while filming?
Well, actually, we were to begin filming on March 16th, and that was on a Monday, I believe. And the prior Friday, we were told that we were going to shut it down because we just didn't want to take that risk. And so we've all kind of been furloughed until the beginning of August, which is when we're planning to go back. And he's rolling out protocol, and he's going to be the first in the industry to try it. And so he's going to start with Sisters, his other show, Sisters, and then do the Oval. And we'll see how it goes. But he's planning to have us quarantined on campus, all of the cast, crew, and so it's going to be called Camp Quarantine, I'm pretty sure. And it should be interesting. I mean, it's, you know, the cast is amazing, and working with Tyler has been a complete thrill. So I think we're going to have a good time with it, and hopefully we can come out of it safely.
Now you got to explain something to AR and Cassidy, because I did find out something. You want to tell me about this R&B group?
Okay.
Yeah. You wanna tell me about this R&B group? I'll wait. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. In a previous life, I was a singer, and I was the lead of a group in Detroit. The name of it is Merge. Prior to that, I was involved in a girl group, and so yeah, y'all embarrassing me. Yeah, but no, we had a good time together. I miss those guys. You know, being in Atlanta, I don't get to see them anymore, but performing on stage there's nothing like it.
I mean, unless you want to break out with the vocals.
No, because see, it's kind kind of early, and I got, I'm good.
Right.
Just like, yeah.
Do you think you'll, venture back into music at some point?
You know what? I would really like to. I've gotten away from writing, but I still practice with my voice. I still try to sharpen my tools. So eventually, I would like to do. Musical theater is my jam. So I want to get back into some musical theater. Hopefully, when the world gets back to normal, if it ever gets back to normal. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm also curious, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but dealing with the Oval, right? What would you do with this Oval Office now?
Just throw the whole office away. No. You know what? I think Victoria Franklin, my character Victoria Franklin, wouldn't even have it. I mean, we wouldn't be having the shenanigans that we're having now in office, and I think that's real. I mean, if we had somebody of color in office, like really.
Oh man.
But you know what's so amazing? I got a chance to tour Tyler Perry studio, and when I saw an actual White House on the studio, on the grounds, that kind of blew my mind. So for individuals who haven't been on the campus, let everyone know like what is there, because it's just remarkable, like all the things that's on that campus.
Yeah, it's over. Well, first of all, he purchased a former Confederate military camp, right. And it's over 300 acres in the heart of the city of Atlanta. It's beautiful, 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 and he's got 12 sound stages. It's like a little city. I mean, it's very self-contained, and he did build a White House almost to scale. And when I tell you it's beautiful, you've seen it. I don't know if you saw the completed product, but it is absolutely beautiful. And I feel privileged to be able to play in it. Like, that's my house when I go to work. So yeah, we have a lot of fun there, but it's remarkable what he's been able to do. And you would be surprised at how quickly he was able to put that structure up. I think it took place in under 2 months. Insane.
Wow. So before you get out of here, let everybody know again, Stargirl, what nights is on, what time is on, because I'm there. I'm with you.
Okay, so you can check out Stargirl on DC Universe and the CW on Tuesday nights at 8/7 Central. And then you can watch The Oval the following night. So you can catch me on both nights on BET at 9/8 Central.
Awesome.
And we can watch you sing at what time?
The next time you have me on.
Oh, deal. Y'all heard her, deal. And shout out, man. Thank you so much for checking in this morning, man. This is great.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you watching and supporting the show. Thank you.
I told you. You're my first lady crush. We good. I got you.
I love you.
Have a great day.
Take care.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Guys, I don't know if y'all Marvel fans or DC fans, but I'm telling you guys, like, Stargirl is a really, really, really big deal. It's a really big deal. So you might want to get a chance.
Yeah.
So for the people who don't understand that world, who is Stargirl and like what's the powers? Like, give us the breakdown.
Okay, so Stargirl, this got me excited. So Stargirl is not this normal homegirl who receives this staff. The staff is actually made of a universal star, but it only reacts to certain people. So once she touches it, she invokes the powers of the universe and she becomes Stargirl. Now, the reason that this is important is because in DC Comics, there were only 3 primary female superstars: Wonder Woman, Stargirl, and Captain Marvel was actually a DC before she became a Marvel Universe. Don't get me started, Amir, man. I'm telling you.
Break it down for the people.
I'm trying to go to school right now, man.
So there's 3 women, you say, and of those, she's the first Black woman.
No, oh my God, Cass, I'm glad you asked that question. So Stargirl, it was the first young female who was a superhero. But what's great about her story is she actually implemented the first Black female superhero into her story. Stargirl was the first superhero that actually implemented a Black female superhero, which you're going to see from her character in the next upcoming episodes. That's why I'm excited, because I'm curious to how they're going to bring her into the story, but she's a major part of the story. I don't know if our producer still has the photo. If she could pull the photo up, there's actually a photo of her in the promotional flyer, so that's why everybody's excited right now. And you guys are going to love it, man.
Well, thank you for breaking that down, Romeo.
You know I'm a big kid, you know that. So.
Hey, man.
I know that's your world, so you gave us some insight. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh man. So what do we got popping up next, man?
Everything's popping up. It's going up, Romeo. We're in a pandemic. I mean, let's not stop figuring out the fact that we are in a pandemic. There are 40 million people who are definitely what I would consider unemployed. We definitely have all these great guests coming up. So when you ask, we got super things happening here at Rolling Out AM. But I definitely don't want anybody to imagine that the numbers are not going up. So AR, stop looking at your phone. You literally understand, because you know them numbers are incredible and they're high, Romeo. No matter what our community thinks, no matter what you watching, no matter how you protesting. The other thing is, are we getting our fair share? We want to know from those in Facebook, how do we make corporations accountable? How do we make sure that they're employing us? This protest isn't just one thing. It's the entire pie. Our health, our wealth, and our spiritual growth. How do we move past this moment, and how do they put the numbers on the board?
Definitely, man. I think what's happening now, we've seen so many corporations tweeting Black Lives Matter, that they're standing with Black individuals and they're standing with the movement. But what are they doing? How many Blacks are they hiring? How many executives are in the executive suite? How many Blacks are getting the opportunity at these corporations? How much ad dollars are they spending with Black companies? So we definitely want to put the pressure on them. It's bigger than a tweet. It's bigger than a Instagram post. We definitely want to see action from these corporations.
And you know what's so funny about that is I'm amazed and I'm proud, because a lot of people on social media have been asking, how long are people going to protest? How long are people going to march? I think it's been Cass, it's been like a week and a half of just consistently, different cities and organizations continuing.
Well, I hope you're telling them don't get tired, Romeo. I hope that instead of asking that, don't get tired, because many of those are trolls. Many of the people that are out there asking the question, the movement, how long? We should stay out there for a whole year. We should stay out till the White House change. What do you mean, how long? Till there's change. Till you can see change. Till there's generational change. Till there's wealth change. That's what you should be tweeting back.
Yeah, definitely.
We want to see some new people. We good on the same people.
Right. What was you saying, Cass?
I was saying, I've definitely seen, I can't find it right now, but if I find it, I'll pull it up. People are referencing, this moment to several moments in history where marches have occurred, where protests have occurred, sit-ins, where big changes have occurred. And there have been 6-month periods, multiple days, hundreds of days, and things like that. So they're definitely comparing it to this time to encourage people not to get tired, because sometimes it takes longer than 14 days. Sometimes it may take 2 months.
It's been 400 years, Cass. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
400
definitely.
years. So it's not something we need to make sure that even as we leave the streets, we don't leave social, we don't leave our activism. These newfound activists stay charged. That's the movement. Don't look just for the streets. Don't take your cues just from social media. Get some training, join some organizations, get involved, activate for people, and stand behind movements that are ours.
Yes. And here I found it actually. It says The Birmingham movement lasted 37 days. The Freedom Rides lasted 7 months. The Greensboro sit-ins lasted 6 months. And the Montgomery bus boycott lasted 382 days. So there's not a distinct time period it's going to take, for change to occur, but we cannot get tired, like you said. So definitely we have to keep the movement alive on social media.
Go ahead, break that song, Cass. Break into the song. You can't get tired. Go ahead. Give her a beat, Romeo. Give her a beat.
I'm not a singer, but please don't get tired. That's all I can say. We need Portia can sing. We need Portia on here.
If I play some Summer Walker, you be right on it right now.
But it won't sound that great much. It's not gonna sound good.
Do not be afraid. It's time. Give her a beat, Romeo.
Oh my God.
Don't get tired. Don't get tired.
There you go, Munson. You're always good at that.
Facebook, this is Rolling Out AM, the wake up call with Amir Shah, Cass in the City, Romeo International. We love you. Share us with your friends. Have people tune in. We're here from 8 to 10 every day, Monday through Friday, the Rolling Out AM.
Go to rollingout.com and go to rollingout.com to check out all the latest stories about what you want to see in our culture, in our language, in our communities, and you'll see some great stories. And the brand new cover just came out with Angela Wright. It looks great. Y'all need to see that. That looks beautiful.
It's a morning show.
I really do like that cover.
Hit it, Cass.
It's a morning
Welcome
show.
to the show.
I thought she was gonna catch the beat. We got our guest Darlene Love checking in. Darlene.
Darlene Love.
You got to take it off mute.
Share your camera.
Mute is in the bottom left corner.
Darlene Love. Grammy winner. Oscar winner.
Okay.
Can
you hear me now?
Don't know. We want you to love us so.
There you go. Get it right, man. That's what I'm talking about, brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. It is the Grammy award-winning, Oscar-winning, giant Black Music Month superstar. Da, 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 da. We love her. We love her. We love Darlene. We love Darlene. All right. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Darlene Love. We love you, darling.
Thank you. How are you this morning?
Oh, we are so blessed to have you on our show, Rolling Out AM. Love.
This is such a moment for me. With everything that's going on in our world today, with all of this going on, it's amazing how this has affected me. I actually been trying to cry and it won't come up. And I mean, I go to sleep and I pray, okay, I can't go to sleep with this on my mind. I need to have some peace, even when you go to sleep, because when there's a lot going on and you go to bed, you can't go right to sleep. And I'm not going to take no drugs to go to sleep. And I'm a big coffee drinker. That doesn't bother me. So when I lay down, I should go to sleep. But everything that's going on now, and I don't tell people that I'm a Christian. I am, but I tell them I have a relationship with God, which I think is more important than anything, because He is the one that's going to give us this peace. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thankful to God that I was raised by a minister. My father was a preacher, and I belonged to his church for many years. So I learned a whole lot. But during the 50s, I was born in Los Angeles, California. And during the 50s, we moved to San Antonio, Texas. And I was 10 years old. And it's amazing that I really did not know at that time about prejudice, because we were living in California and we had white kids in our school and Spanish kids in our school. So it really wasn't. But the first thing that happened to us, we took the train to San Antonio, Texas, and we were sitting in the front of the train. Well, when we got into the South, they asked us to move to the back of the train. And I'm going, you let us ride here for the last 7 or 8 hours. Now you're telling us to move. And they really did have to explain to us why. My father understood, because my father was from Texas, why they moved us to the back of the train. And it's just amazing that here we are in 2020. What gets me, and it's still happening. You know what I'm saying? And I have 3 sons, so I'm always worried. I have them to pray before they leave the house. We pray, and just for protection, because as an entertainer for over almost 60 years, I have been through so many of these. I will be 79 next month. And I've been through a whole lot of these. And one thing the Lord has given me, he has given me the gift of laughter. And that gets me through a whole lot. And, I don't get in conversations about this unless we need to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like everybody is saying, this happens and then it fades away. And then it happens again and it fades away and nothing is done. Talking is fine, but it comes to the place where talking is not enough.
Yeah. Well, we want to ask, it's Black Music Month. You're a Hall of Famer. What would you say your journey in music has been, and what gifts, if you'd name 2 of your highest moments in music, what would they be?
That is so easy. The highest is when I was invited to go to the White House when Barack Obama was president. And I sang for him and his wife. And I don't think anything, except when Jesus comes, nothing is going to take a place.
Now, what song did you sing?
I actually sung hold on. I just told y'all I'll be 79 in a few months. What was the train, Alton? It'll come to me in a minute. But it was the gospel show that they did there that was so great.
All right.
Retha was on that show, and she's a real old friend of mine. And it was amazing that I got invited there to do the gospel show.
Right.
And earlier that day, I was invited to do a conference with a lot of young people from all over the country with Michelle Obama, and talk to them about the things about the business and everything that was going on. So, I never expect a lot this is the way I am as being a Black woman. I never expect a whole lot. But so when it happens, I'm just flooded with joy. She took a little part of my life and told the young girls about what I have been through in this business, because even though you're talented, and you do all that you can do in this business. I started out doing a television show called Shindig in 1964 and 65. And even then, it was 3 of us, three background singers, the Blossoms. They did not want us on that show because we were Black and the show was going national. So the producer was from London. So he told them, if you don't want my girls, you can't have my show. So, all in all, somebody always stood up for us. No matter what was going on, somebody stood up for us. And that to me is what has to happen. You have to stand up for it. What's going on? You really do. You have to stand up for everything, and try to, I'm a person that always asks for forgiveness also. in case I've hurt you or I did something or said something, because we all do and say things, you know, that we don't mean at the time, and then we regret saying them. But, and then the other is having my children, because they have been the life of my life, and they have made me want to be a better person, to do right in front of them. You know, because even we as grown-ups, we feel we can do anything in front of our children, but we really can't. We have to hold up a standard in front of them. Because my daughter-in-law told me one time, she was walking her son to school. And I said, why are you walking all the way down to the corner? And you can cross right here. There's the street right there. She said, I want him to see he should go to the light and cross the street rather than just running across the street. Because I almost hit a child one time, breaking out, and you know what I'm saying, running out and into the street to get a ball or whatever. But to me, that went, wow, that makes sense. Because if he sees you do it, then he'll think, well, I better not cross the street right here. I better go down to the light and cross.
So
and
when you think of, you said you, Aretha, Hall of Famers, what has been your favorite movement song? What is your favorite movement song?
River Deep, Mountain High. I still sing that song in my show. It's one of them, baby, get up, get it on, let's do it, let's do
How's
it.
it go?
And when I was a little girl, I had a red doll, the only doll I've ever owned. River deep and mountain high, river deep and mountain high.
Yes.
It's one of those, you know, pick me up songs.
Well, you've been
and there's another song that when I was in the Broadway show Hairspray, I sang, I played Motormouth Maybelle in the show. And there's a song in there that Scott Whitman and Mark Shaman wrote called I Know Where I've Been. I know where I'm going because I know where I've been. And every time I sing that song, I think about all the things that I have been through, like the television show. I did that, but I know I'm not going to be here. We're going to move. We're going to move. We're going to go forward. And all those things really help me, especially being in this business, because your best friends will turn on you in this business. They don't realize they're doing it sometimes, I think, you know, because they say little things. You know, but I dated a white guy coming up, one of the Righteous Brothers, Bill Medley. And all of our really good friends were shocked that we were dating. And I was like, really? What did we change all of a sudden? In other words, why is this Black girl dating a Righteous Brother who, you know, a famous rock and roll singer too, you know, and all of those things take you back and you go, wait a minute, hold on. We are friends. I'm talking about Black and white had something to say about that. And I'm going, okay, Lord, what is going on? So, you know, all of us go through things. A lot of times we bury them. And I think that's a lot of things that happens with protests. Everything is so built up in everybody. You really have to tell yourself, this is not the way to do it. This is not the way to do it.
Coming on Rolling Out AM. We love you. Congratulations. We will see you soon. We'll invite you back.
Please do.
Rolling Out AM. Darlene, love everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
God
Take
bless
care.
and be safe.
Thank you, you too.
Oh man, that was powerful, man.
Yes.
Hey.
Hi.
Get that angle. Get that angle right.
I got it.
Kai, get that angle right. Yeah, you got the angle
right.
Yes, welcome.
Hold up, can I see everybody? Let me see.
We can see you.
There you guys go.
Yes, so we're so excited to have you. Welcome, Kaya Wright, two-time Emmy Award-winning celebrity hairstylist. You have, look, everybody from Tyra Banks, Taraji, Kerry Washington, Sierra. Look, yes.
It's for real.
I love that. Love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got receipts.
Look,
You had to get them receipts out.
I know Munson. Where's he at? He's not on this line anymore.
Munson, I think he dropped. He might come back.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I see his card, but he's not there.
Yeah.
I'm good. It's early, y'all. It's early.
I know.
Hey,
We are so appreciative for you joining us
5:45
today.
is like nuts.
I know. Man, we are so excited. We want to talk to you about your career. You know, just give us a little background. I mean, you know, you work with so many people, like you said, 2-time Emmy Award winning. How did you get your start in this industry? Give us a little background information.
Ah, man. Okay. So I'm going to try to do this really quick in like 3 minutes. That's a long, right? I have been, let's say I started in the industry probably in 1994. I moved to New York City from Washington, D.C., met Puffy, just kind of hanging out. Well, it was Puff then. We were just hanging out, and, you know, Howard, the whole bit. He had just started records. And we were just hanging out. He was like, I want you to work with my artist. So first artist was Faith Evans. And he would like send her back and forth with me until I got it right. And we landed the blonde. Then we landed the red. And we like a lot of different colors. And then at some point, he was managing Mary. Her and her hairdresser got into it. Then he swapped us. And now this literally begins my road to being on the road for like 12 years. I was with Mary J. Blige, Total, Faith Evans, and then the list goes on and on. Maya, Lauryn Hill, and then around September, 2001, the World Trade. Huge major events. Everything changed, economy changed, rates changed, everything. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna move to LA. So I moved to LA that next, like the top of the year, like April, I'll never forget it. And that is where this chapter of my life began, where I started working with actresses and things like that. I ended up with Gabrielle Union, Tyra Banks, working in the salon. I'm still a salon girl at heart. So I always stay true to the salon. I don't know. I just love that everyday woman. So I found me a popular salon right here in LA, and I worked there. I'm continuing on with my celebrities. Everything blows up, and then Tyra calls me. And she's like, you want to do television? You want to do my new show? I think a makeup artist called me named Jay Manuel. And he's like, hey, you want to, work with Tyra? And I'm like, yeah. But then I'm starting here, like, there's not a lot of money on TV. I don't know, because we were making cash back then. This is a cash business. And I was like, I don't know. I'm here at $65 an hour. Shoot, I can make way more than that, So, after about a year, her getting her show together, the whole thing, I end up going. And it probably was the best moments of my life because I'm working with a legend, a huge model, and I'm learning about television, film, lighting, everything. I won an Emmy 2006. I went again 2007, and it was just like, wow. It was something I had never dreamed, never saw at all. I stayed with her for probably like 7 years. I did top model, Tyra Banks, everything. Like I was just tired of. Remember, I had just finished the tour world, as a matter of fact, because I had been touring for 12 years, living on the road. And I'm like, I'm done. Like I'm just getting older. I can't just be living out of a suitcase anymore. So that's what inspired me to kind of take that gig. And I stayed with her for probably like 6-7 years, and then I branched off and started my own product line because I'm like, okay, well, what are we gonna do now? And I started my own product line with one product, like a hairspray. And then it just sort of spiraled from there. And I branch off, I do my own thing. I get a TV show, Love in the City on OWN. Oprah started a show for Black women coming up, all going through that change of life, turning 40, dating younger men, like all. It was just a really, really like positive show. It was probably too positive, not enough drama, not enough fighting. And we did one season. That was 2015. They aired it every year. You probably have seen it this recently. And that was great. Now here I am, with my own line. I'm doing my own line of stitches and wigs. And thank God I started that because during this time going through the COVID and, you know, Black Lives Matter, all of this, like we're not working. You know, as stylists, if I hadn't started that business 3 years ago, my extensions and wig business, Muse Hair, man, I don't know what I would be doing. So
and that's a good segue into my next point, because, you know, I like to blow dry and condition my hair, and so I wanted to know if you had some home remedies and tips for people who still don't feel comfortable going out to the hair salon and getting their hair done.
Yeah, and you know, as a matter of fact, I'm going back in on next week, 15th. They just opened up Beverly Hills. But for those who are just afraid, I get it, you know, because even myself, I had clients just calling me before any of this had even went on. And they're like, can I just sneak into your house? And I'm kind of like, I don't know. It's so intimate. But I went to the salon. I was doing some remodeling and I saw people there. They're bringing people out in phases. So, oh man, I just feel like you got to wear your mask. You got to have your little protective shield. Like at the salon, they want the shield and the mask. And like they're saying things like no blow dryers. Like I'm like, I don't know how Black people get their hair done with no blow dryer. Not gonna work.
The hot comb, girl, the hot comb.
I think that Black people in vanity, we don't play with our look. We will go to the hair just to get our hair done.
Definitely, and people have for sure. But you know, like for those people, you know, who are at home, like what, you know, during this time, it's been months, you know, 3 months, 4 months, you know, what can you do to make sure your hair is staying healthy when you can't, you know, maybe you have some underlying conditions and you can't take that risk?
Yeah, you're right. Because yes, I have a family member that way. Well, I really call this a time for you to really give your hair a break. Really get into the treatments. A lot of us wear wigs, extensions, braids, but we really don't take care of our scalp. So for me, as a stylist, I'm always about treat your hair like you treat your skin. Care for it, treat it, conditioning treatments. Let your hair go natural. Like I went natural more during the COVID times than I've ever done in my life. You know? So for me, it was about play with your natural texture. Don't be afraid of it, ladies. Like, you know, I know we wear wigs and we just kind of cover it up and we forget about our scalp. But I say, get into your scalp care. Get into playing with your textures. Buy you a clip-on ponytail, things that you can do quick. I can still do webcam. Play with different textures. A lot of women are getting braids. I'm not a big fan of braids, like for everyday or for work life, but people have just done them so beautifully and they're rocking them so nice that, hey, if that's what we got to do right now to maintain our image for work, go for it.
Kaya, now hold on now. Before you get out of here, me and King James, we can't rock no ponytail. So you need to give me some advice. You better give me, because you know, I'm still holding on right now. I'm holding on. I ain't been to the
You really are. I can't see you, but I saw you when we first started. You really are holding on. You know what I would say for men? If you're a guy and you have such a beautiful head of hair like that, you don't have hair loss or anything, I go for a shape up. If you can just shape up your own hair, and most Black men know how to barber. Most of you guys know, even if you just give yourself a good shave and shape up that hairline, I'm not mad at a little fro. We're not mad at that.
Okay.
Thank you. But how do I take care of my kitchen though?
You gotta shape. Well, then you gotta get your girlfriend to give you a little shape up in the back. But you gotta get a shape up. That's number one. I think that always just sort of camouflages not having.
Well, we want to thank you for coming on Rolling Out AM, and we just need your positive thought of the day. 30 seconds, Ms. Wright.
Oh man, positive thoughts is to stay inspired and just get with God and meditate every morning. That's 3 things.
All right, Cass in the city.
Positive thought of the day for me is, you know, find something new. We've been talking about music today, so find some new music, some inspiring music. There are these protest songs, so definitely listen to something new. Find some new artists to listen to and give some other people a chance during this time while you have the time.
Romeo International.
I'm gonna give my positive day coming from Miss Wright. Line up your head, fellas, just like you line up your life and get it right. King James.
My quick positive word of the day comes from legendary automaker Henry Ford. If you think you can or can't, you are right. Think positive. That's my word of the day.
That's a good one.
My positive thought of the day is A.R. Shaw is do not be deterred. I want to give a thanks to everyone in Georgia who stood in line for hours to exercise their right to vote. In November, return again to the polls. Let your voice be heard.
So we all want to thank you for tuning in to Rolling Out AM, the wake up call, positive thought of the day. Once again, you do not have to be in the streets, but you do have to be in the struggle. Nobody's safe. This is Rolling Out. We love you. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m. for more Rolling Out AM, the wake up call. Thanks, Ms. Wright. We love you. And we'll see you all again. And it's out of here. Peace.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
You're welcome.
Rollingout.com right now.
Take care.
Yes, follow me on Instagram, Kyra